It's no wonder why the city of Fresno and so many Valley businesses choose McHenry Protective and Investigative Services. With over 50 years of experience in public safety and security, McHenry's team of experts will safeguard you, your commercial property, and your next big event. Professional service, marked patrol vehicles, 24-hour dispatch, and friendly, observant, and responsive armed and unarmed guards are just a few of the reasons you should contact McHenry at 559-478-7747 or visit them online at mchenryprotection.com.
Revin is now on KVHF Channel 4.4.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. It's Wednesday. We're talking politics and a man who wants your vote for Fresno County Supervisor. He is currently the mayor of Clovis. We are here to take your phone calls, 436-ME-TV option 11. We have an open phone line, and at the top of the program, we'll talk about Dave McCann, the man the Clovis Police Department caught finally early this morning about 1:30 over in Seaside. Back in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Back here on the program on a Wednesday morning. I'm so glad you are here on Connect with me on MeTV Fresno, and a lot to talk about today here on the program. Tomorrow we're going to have the Clovis Police Chief on this program to talk about the capture of this guy Dave McCann, and if we could put that picture up on the screen. He was caught early this morning in Seaside about 1:30 in the morning, and there he is right there in shackles, handcuffs, right there. McCann, his name is David Thomas McCann out of Clovis. And I just want to say he is suspected of double homicide. He's suspected in the killing of his wife, Tierney Cooper McCann, 36 years old, and her mother, Judith Cooper, 68 years old. There he is right there. So here's what happened. Terrific police work, though, by the Clovis Police Department. I got to say this. The chief over there, who's going to be a guest on this program, did a terrific job, him and his staff, trying to track this man down who is suspected of double homicide, the double killing of his estranged wife and her mother. They tracked him down over near Monterey. He was at a homeless camp early this morning. This is the arrest picture that they took in Monterey since he has been transported back to Clovis for questioning. So right now as I speak, Dave McCann, the suspect in a double homicide, is in the city of Clovis. He's over at the Clovis Police Department being questioned by numerous police officers, including, I assume, the police chief of Clovis. He'll be our guest tomorrow to talk about how this manhunt and this tracking of this suspect took place. It took a lot of manpower, a lot of man-hours, a lot of cooperation from other people and other agencies around the state of California, I'm sure. So the police chief here as our guest tomorrow, and possibly, I just want to say possibly, one other guest by telephone to talk about this case. So today we're talking about politics. We'll move on from this. And one other quick note before I move on. On Friday, H. Spees is going to be here. He wants your vote for mayor of Fresno. He's running, of course, for mayor, and he is being endorsed by a former mayor, Alan Autry. You've seen the ads. We'll talk to him about that and some of his tax plans and his plan to beef up the police department and all the rest. In the meantime, there's a man in the House today that wants your vote for Fresno County Supervisor. I want to roll a videotape, my friends, and one of the things that we're going to talk about on the program today is water storage. As you know, the National Weather Service, our guy was in here yesterday from Hanford talking about rain totals. We're about 3.5 inches above normal for this year thanks to El Nino, but most of El Nino went to the north of us, so Sacramento, San Francisco, Northern California got the bulk of the rain. But I'll tell you what, we'll take it. 3 inches above normal, we'll take that any day, any time, any year. But the question is not how much rain we're getting, it's how much of that water we're storing for future droughts. You heard Kevin Lynott, National Weather Service, yesterday saying on this program, despite all the rain that we got, yes, we are still in a drought. So during drought years, how and when do we save water? And at the same time satisfy those who want to save the environment and save the fish. It is a problem that city leaders are trying to work on right now. Future city leaders, like the future mayor, you had Henry Perea in here last week talking about wanting to build that new dam and water storage and how water is going to be a priority in his administration if in fact he is elected. Well, what about today's guest? That's one of his top priorities too. The question is, everything costs money. To store water, it costs money. Where are you going to store it? Where are those storage units going to be? How much will they cost? And will the public be willing to pay for it? Live in our studio right now is the mayor of Clovis. His name is Nathan Magsig. He is running for Fresno County Supervisor, District number 3, and he wants to replace Debbie Puchigian. She stepped down. She's retiring off the board, and so he is running and wants your vote. 436-ME-TV, option 11. He's running against 2 other candidates that we will talk about. I think it's his 3rd appearance here on this program. Phone calls are accepted and more than welcome. 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're back with our program, this edition of Connect with Me, in just a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the KitchenAid appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Save big with KitchenAid. Right now, get up to a $1,000 prepaid MasterCard when you purchase select KitchenAid appliances. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Untamed Sports is now on KVHF 4.3.
All right, I misspoke. It was Fresno County Supervisor District number 5. Of course, Supervisor District number 3. It's Quintero against Ronquillo. And of course, Sal Quintero, he was supposed to be here, but I don't know if he's going to show up again before June the 7th. Dan Ronquillo will. But Nathan Magsig is here. He's District 5, and you're running against Lauren Stevens, of course, and Alex Ott.
Yes.
And so I know we're going to talk about water. We'll talk about a lot of things today. What do you make of your 2 opponents?
Well, I think my 2 opponents are wonderful individuals. Alex Ott has 2 beautiful kids, an incredible wife, and has lived in our community and been a great contributor. I know a little less of Lauren Stevens, but I think she has family that lives in the Prather area.
Yes.
In the debates that we've been involved with, she, I think, is clearly concerned with a lot of the issues that is affecting eastern Fresno County.
Such as?
Well, tree mortality specifically. So if you look
Right.
at the Sierra and the number of trees that are dying because of the fact that we're in a drought, and and the forest mismanagement over the course of the last 40 or 50 years, it's really causing a number of trees to die. Because we're in a drought, it's exacerbated the problem. Bark beetles have come in and killed, 70-80% of the trees, and some say that up to 100% of the trees may all die. And we have to figure out a plan to get those trees out of there because they create an incredible fire hazard. So that is a big issue, and I know it's one of her issues that she's talked about in a lot of
Lauren's
the
very
debates.
knowledgeable, even though that she's not a politician per se. You've been a politician for quite some time, but she's knowledgeable on the issues. I found that to be true when she was a guest here on this program. And one of her other issues is mental health services, lack thereof here in Fresno County. We'll get into that as well. But Alex Ott is another man who really is not a politician. So
Correct.
you're running against two people that really have no political experience. How do you view that?
We live in a great country where anybody can choose to run. The requirements are that you're 18 years of age, you're registered to vote. Depending on the position, at the local level, you can be 18 and registered to vote and run. So for me, I've got the utmost respect for anybody that chooses to step out, and if they believe in a cause and they want to make a difference and they run for office, even if they're my opponent, I respect the fact that they're making that leap, because being a candidate is very difficult.
What's difficult about it?
Well, there's a lot of different places you need to be. You need to understand the issues. In this particular district, the district's 2,800 square miles.
Yeah.
You have urban and rural issues. You've got small communities, large communities. The city of Fresno and Clovis are in it. But you also have communities like Friant. Friant's issues are much different than Shaver Lake's issues. Shaver Lake's issues are different than Wonder Valley's issues. So getting out into the community and meeting with all of the different stakeholders, understanding what their issues are, crafting a message, doing debates, takes you away from your family. And so the candidates in this race are all participating at that level. They're working hard to get out into the community to understand the issues. So my opponents in this race, I've got a respect for them because of the fact we're all in this together. We're all candidates, and it's not easy. And so I appreciate that about them, that they're willing to put their names out there and go through this process.
Yeah. And it's a clean campaign. It's not like Ronquillo against Quintero, or it's not like the District 6 city council race. We have all these nasty things being said back and forth. This has been a clean race so far. There's no question about it. But it's difficult being a candidate, I would imagine, because you're putting yourself out there. And to put yourself out there means, dang, you better understand the issues or you're going to be exposed immediately if you don't have that knowledge. And not everyone has the knowledge. You have to sometimes learn as you go. Am I right?
You sometimes do have to learn as you go, but you need to start with some kind of foundation as a candidate. So maybe there's 2 or 3 issues that you want to focus in on. So for me, the issues that I had that are right at our core is water. Water is a top issue. If we don't have
one of
water,
your base issues?
that is my #1 top issue is water. Finding a way to get more groundwater storage, above ground storage, and also conveyance, moving that water around. Clearly, the state and federal government are not our friends when it comes to the water fight. You can take a look at the Delta and what they're doing around pumping restrictions. You mentioned earlier in your monologue the fact that we have an above rainfall year right now, and up north they're going to get 100% allocations north of Stockton. But as you move further south, the Westlands Water District is at a 5% allocation. And we have water right now flowing through the Delta and out into the ocean, over 1 million acre feet that's been dumped out into the ocean because we do not have the ability to turn the pumps up for environmental concerns. And so that is extremely frustrating.
That's a federal issue, though.
Yeah, it's a federal issue, but here's where the state and at the
Can't
local...
turn those pumps on. Fed's got to do it.
Well, the feds have to do it, but it's all about interpreting the Endangered Species Act, and I believe right now the interpretation of the ESA is so restrictive, I think it's actually punitive right now. So I think science needs to be used whenever the Endangered Species Act is used, and right now there's no hard science showing that by not flowing those pumps at a higher rate it's going to impact fish, or it's going to have any kind of negative environmental impact even beyond the fish. So I want to turn those pumps up as high as possible and get as much water as possible to the west side and get farmers farming again.
But Nathan, it sounds good. You want to get those pumps turned on, but how, as just one individual, convince the federal government to do that?
I am one individual, but we have a board of supervisors that consists of 5. So we have 2 incredible farmers on that board right now who will remain come January. That is Brian Pacheco and Buddy Mendez.
Yeah.
Brian's a dairy farmer. Buddy Mendez has a variety of different crops, but both of them clearly appreciate and have an understanding of what all this fallowing of land is doing when it comes to economic development and the impact that it's having on their lands as well. So coming from a city perspective, I've seen what the drought has done and the state-mandated state of emergency that we're in, what those cuts have done to our residents and how it's impacting our ability to deliver services in some case because of this man-made drought. So taking a message which combines both ag concerns and also city concerns together, I think will get the attention a little bit better in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Let me take devil's advocate with you here, just briefly. I'm going to assume, right or wrong, but I will assume that you're not going to be able to get those pumps turned on. What do you do then?
So I think at the local level, we need to be investing in more groundwater banking facilities. In Clovis, 10 years ago, we partnered with the Fresno Irrigation District and we developed 2 groundwater banking facilities. We have banked over
That are
one.
there right now?
They are there right now. They've been.
Do they have water?
They have water. They've stored over 100,000 acre feet of water in the last 10 years.
Why don't we hear about these underground storage units? I never read anything in the Fresno Bee about them. Why not?
The Bee has done some stories on them, and I think as we continue to move forward with this new age of water restrictions in general, you're going to be hearing more about them because more communities are going to be doing them. So 10 years ago, the Fresno Irrigation District and the city of Clovis saw an opportunity to work together to store water in wet years and create a contract, an agreement where the city of Clovis will get more surface water during drought years because of the banking that we're doing west of the 99 with a joint project with the Fresno Irrigation District. So one of the things that I want to do as a county board of supervisor is work with all 15 cities that we have here in Fresno County and other areas and other municipalities here in the county as well, develop more groundwater banking, because as you affect the aquifer, and even if we're able to neutralize the overdrafting problem or bring that water back a little bit, that helps all of us. We need more water, and in wet years like the year we're in right now, we have to have the ability to store water and not let it move out of this county.
So you have 2 of those units
Yep.
that are full.
We have, well, I wouldn't say they're full. We have 2 facilities that we've developed that have banked over 100,000 acre feet of water in the last 10 years.
How much water do they have in them now?
Well, remember, those facilities, the way that they're developed is they help with recharge. And so we're able to monitor how much water we put in during wet years. And so
how
that
much
goes
water
right
there's
back into
going
the,
out.
that goes right into the aquifer and helps
So
to
who
recharge the aquifer.
uses that water? Who use it? Farmers?
Farmers,
Residents?
yeah, anybody who draws off that aquifer would have the ability to take benefit of that water. So anybody that's in Fresno Irrigation District is a beneficiary of that water. So Kerman may be able to benefit from that water because these facilities are west of 99. Farmers that are out in that area would be able to benefit from it. But the Fresno Irrigation District territory is so large, and the way that water moves, especially groundwater, typically water moves from north to south, from east to west. But because those folks are an FID in the Fresno Irrigation District territory, FID was willing to give us exchange contracts, and we now get additional surface water out of the Enterprise Canal, which we take advantage of, and we're able to run our surface water treatment plant and not use our wells as much during the drought times.
Yeah, so what you're wanting to do is build more of these storage units in Fresno County.
Yes.
At a cost of how much?
I want to
each?
say that the 2 holding facilities that we developed were between $10 and $12 million. And I'm all for applying for grants as well. But looking at the need for water, if you don't have water, nothing else matters. And so we need to put some kind of plan together, identify areas that are going to be most beneficial for recharge and storage, and move forward. Another project I'd like to focus on with the Fresno Irrigation District, the Flood Control District, the Army Corps of Engineers, is Big Dry Creek. It's a flood control basin, and there's a huge dirt berm right off of Shepherd Avenue next to Harlan Ranch. That basin can hold between 25 and 30,000 acre feet of floodwaters, and that basin right now is only a temporary holding facility. So water can be held back there for, I want to say 45, 50 days, but then you have to move the water out of there.
Why?
Well, just because the dirt berm that's been created is
Okay.
not considered a permanent,
Starts eroding.
it can
Yeah.
erode it. So
Yeah.
we need to figure out a way to shore up that dirt berm and somehow make it more of a permanent facility, and even excavate back there if it makes sense to make that holding facility larger. And during wet years, work with Fresno Irrigation District and move water back behind that basin. A big challenge that we have is during the summer and fall months when we need surface water. It's best to pull it from basins like that or from the mountains than it is to pump from the ground. And so this just gives us the ability to have more above ground storage available to us as well.
Yeah. Before we go to break, why is it important to run for office, number one? And number two, why is this seat that Debbie Puchigan is giving up, why is this such an important seat on the Fresno County Board of Supervisors?
So
Two-part question.
For me, I enjoy being involved in leadership. I enjoy being involved in local government, and I've had the pleasure of serving the citizens of Clovis for over 15 years now. And so the reason I am running is at the county level, there are so many issues, whether it be the tree mortality issue we mentioned a few moments ago up in the Sierra, to water issues, to public safety, to economic development. I get excited about these challenges that are out there, and I look forward to working with the communities, with the cities, to come up with strategies to address these issues. And so when you're an elected official, over a period of time, you get to see plans actually develop into implementation and infrastructure coming out of the ground that are going to help sustain a community for 50 or 100 years. I get very excited about being involved in those types of plans. And I also get excited too working with people. So I'm passionate about people. I love the different ideas that individuals have. And I'm really looking forward to working with the residents of District 5.
Yeah, how about the board members, the current board members? And the makeup of the board is going to stay basically the same. Your seat's changing, and the other seat that Perea is holding now, it's going to change. Whoever gets in there, it'll either be Ronquillo, Quintero. Right now, Quintero seems to be running a little behind. Ronquillo endorsed by the B. You were endorsed by the B. Perea was endorsed by the B. Bredefeld was endorsed by the B. Does it make a difference that the B endorses you or not?
You know, I will say that the endorsement of the Fresno Bee in my race, I was honored to receive that support and was flattered by what they had to say about the last 15 years of me serving in Clovis and my involvement in the community. So to me, it does matter. Having an institution like the Bee that's been around for many years,
Over 100 years.
Yeah, having those individuals on the editorial board be able to sit down and share what they shared about me means a lot. So that is, it's
Did
an
you meet with the
endorsement which I
board?
appreciate. I met with Jim Bourne. I met with the other folks from the editorial board as well.
What was the sense you got from them?
You know, they were there just to ask questions. They wanted to know what my plan was for the future of Fresno County. I laid out for them, the county's, one of their main functions is not only public safety, but also mental health. So if you look at just the budget that Fresno County has, $2.6 billion, over $1 billion of that is to provide services to the indigent throughout Fresno County. Because we have so many poor who can't take care of themselves here, and the state gives money to the county to deliver services. So my background in with different nonprofits, working with the poor and trying to bring people out of poverty so they can become more productive citizens, I shared a lot of that message with the editorial board. When I sat down with them a couple weeks ago, it was very hard for me to read them. And what I did is I just poured my heart out to them and shared with them what I'm passionate about, what I believe in, and the editorial board, of course, made their decision in my race today.
So you think, hang on, caller, one of the decisions maybe they decided on, and the reason to endorse you is because of your interest in working with the poor and the less fortunate?
That was one of the things that they did mention, is my involvement working with a number of different nonprofits and currently working with Fresno EOC and trying to create opportunities to bring individuals out of poverty. So
Why
I think,
is that close to your heart?
I come from a line of pastors, and so I believe all of us are given gifts. A lot of people thought that I was going to get involved in the ministry as well, but I felt led to get involved in government and politics. So I believe that it is my personal responsibility to work with my neighbor to try to help them in any situation that they have. Here in Fresno County, just looking at the demographics of the entire county, A lot of people are underemployed, unemployed, a lot of individuals living in poverty, a lot of basic needs that aren't being met. So I see it as being my personal responsibility to engage and to try to provide more opportunities for individuals. And for me, I'm not one who believes that the government should be handing out programs and handing out money to people, because that does not solve the long-term problem.
Did you mention that to the B editorial
I did.
board?
And
what was their response?
Well, again, they just asked questions and listened. So for me, what I want to see happen is through education, through providing both vocational education and opportunities for folks to go back to school to retool is important. It's critical for us to be working with our kids throughout the county, because at that basic level, kids decide what kind of path they want to move towards. And if they have good mentors in their life, they can become more, they have a higher chance of becoming productive citizens. I sit on the board of directors for the Boys and Girls Club of Fresno County, and a statistic they use is that 56% of the kids that come through a Boys and Girls Club say that club saved their life. And so what the Boys and Girls Club is all about is providing a positive place for kids, not only for them to enjoy playing basketball, volleyball, but also help with homework. These are the things we need to be investing in.
So you feel that your calling is, in your way of helping these people, is not through the ministry, but it's through public service?
And in a roundabout way, while I am not a pastor, my ministry is to be involved in helping my neighbor. And so regardless if I was an elected official or not, I still would be involved in these organizations and institutions, because it's who I am, it's what I enjoy to do, and it's I feel fulfilled by doing those types of things.
Before we go to break, let's take the call here. Good morning, you're on the air.
Okay.
Go ahead, you're on the air. Caller, go ahead.
There are several issues I'd like to address. Number one, you're coming from Clovis to Fresno. I thought you had to live in Fresno in order to be on our council, so I'm kind of concerned that you might have your loyalty in Clovis and not in Fresno. Number two, I like the idea of building these storage areas, but for them to last only 45 days is a real problem. Spend all that money in only 45 days. Something's got to be done about that. And I like to bring up an issue. The military has lots of exercises, and they are destroying tons and tons of fish. They have two classifications: A, dead; B, injured. And they quantify that. They do this with their military exercises and also their experiments with sound. Why isn't the EPA doing something about that if they're so concerned about fish?
All right, so I guess to the caller, a couple of things about this particular
You're not running for city
Yeah,
council.
I'm not
You're
running
running for Fresno County Supervisor, which qualifies you to run whether you live in Clovis, as long as you live within that district.
Correct.
Which
So
is 2,800 miles.
2,800 square miles, yeah. So this particular district includes a big portion of the city of Clovis. It includes southeast Fresno. It includes Wonder Valley. It includes communities like Shaver Lake, Huntington Lake, Friant, Auburn, Prather, and so the district is large, and I do live within the district and have for many years. So I've not moved. I live in the same house, the first house that actually my wife and I purchased together, and we're raising our 3 boys in. In regards to the question about water and the storage facility, so right now the Big Dry Creek holding basin is built to only temporarily hold water. What I would like to do is make that basin permanently hold water, so we can hold water in that basin to convey it during the summer and fall months when we need that water.
And to build other storage units.
Correct, and to do other groundwater storage facilities. So currently the Big Dry Creek only temporarily holds water because its main function right now is flood control, not recharge and conveyance.
Okay, and I got to take a break, so we'll continue this right after the break. McHenry Protective Services, your sponsor on the program today. If you have a problem, hey, my friends, if you want to do a background check on anyone like Nathan Magsig, hire McHenry Protective Services. They will thoroughly do a background check on Nathan, me, our producer, anybody. 436-MeTV option 11. We're back in a moment. It's no wonder why the city of Fresno and so many Valley businesses choose McHenry Protective and Investigative Services. With over 50 years of experience in public safety and security, McHenry's team of experts will safeguard you, your commercial property, and your next big event. Professional service, marked patrol vehicles, 24-hour dispatch, and friendly, observant, and responsive armed and unarmed guards are just a few of the reasons you should contact McHenry at 559-478-7747 or visit them online at mchenryprotection.com.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Back here on the program, thanks to McHenry Protective Services for their sponsorship today. We really appreciate it. Appreciate Nathan Magsig being here, and we'll have the other candidates on as well. Lauren Stevens and Alex Ott running against Nathan in that District 5 Fresno County Supervisors race. Caller, you've been patient. Go ahead. You're on the air.
All right. Hey, good morning. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
You're a better man than I am for taking this job, or at least running for the office. I've been here since 1956 on the east side of town.
Wow.
I'm at Tulare and Minnewawa.
Wow.
I used to be on KC, which is near the California home. That was when my dad moved there with a cheese company. We had a cheese business. But getting back, I've been here, and I have a bucket list for you, Nathan, kinda.
Okay.
A good and a bad and ugly. Nathan, don't put any more apartments on this side of town if you're voted in. That's one. That's one. If you could do me a favor. Even though Ed Castian wants more homes and possibly apartments for his town, Franzer Creek Town Mall to exist. And I have a number of more questions. That's my second question,
Okay.
I guess you could say, or statement. Hopefully that does happen before I move on to my next life. We're still waiting for it. Probably water now has something to do with it, other than in a department store. And put it down also, Nathan, for Trader Joe. We have to miles from here, a Trader Joe. There's more taco, there's more pizza parlors on this side of town. In fact, I think it tilts a little on the map with the pizza parlors and the Mexican restaurants on this side of town. They're great, but it's overkill. All right, let's see what else I have to share with my thoughts with you. But that's kind of my bucket list right now. And I mean, it's a mixed bag on this side of town. And I'll say this: years ago, this guy said, on this side of town is the most highly paid people, income, and yet the poorest that he's seen. And I don't know if we're the only side like that, but he classified that as homeless, the homeless to the richest part, and they're only like a half a mile away from each other.
Wow.
It's interesting. All right, I hope, hey, I think you have my vote.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I like what you're saying.
All right.
Thanks, and thanks, Nathan. Do a little dialogue on that.
All right.
And,
Thank you.
Hopefully that townhouse goes up soon, if that's possible. Okay,
Great
thank you.
call.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of issues on the table here. Let's start with the apartment, the townhouse, and all that.
Yeah, so first of all, whenever a city develops, because the area he's talking about would be developing in the city of Fresno, which is autonomous to the county. But what the city of Fresno really needs to do is develop a specific plan, if they haven't already, for that area, which would identify housing needs, commercial needs, industrial, and any other type of business campus needs for the area, so it can be self-sustaining, and the community needs to be involved in that process, developing what they want in their neighborhood in the future. So
don't residents have a say-so as what can be developed there, or do the developers have the say?
No. So residents who live there, the development community would have a say-so as well, in the sense of they would be part of this committee. But at the end of the day, the city council in Fresno would vote and decide to make tweaks or approve whatever specific plan is developed for that particular area. As development takes place, it has to be in line with the general plan and specific plan for that area. So in regards to apartments on the east side of town, there would need to be some type of housing mix that probably goes in that greater area. But I would, for that caller, I would share with them that they can be involved in the process, and I would encourage them to participate with the city of Fresno in that process so their voice can be heard. And any individual project that comes to the city, whether it be a shopping center, a Trader Joe's, or an apartment project, which could come in the future, all of those have to be conducted in a public hearing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I got to take another call here. Hang on, caller. But in terms of an apartment complex, if you're going to put that in a housing neighborhood or near a housing neighborhood, does that mean more crime? To a lot of people, it may.
So again, with apartments,
depends on how you view it.
Yeah, so apartments do not equal crime. Really, what you need to look at is a good housing mix is important. So we need not only single-family residential, we need condos, we need apartments. The first 4 years of my life after I graduated college, I lived in an apartment. And what I found is that it's not that I lived in an apartment that maybe caused challenges, but it was the management of that apartment complex. So if you have a decent manager that is on top of issues, maintaining problems that show up there at an apartment complex, I look at the Scotsman Apartments in the city of Clovis. There are two different Scotsmen. They were built in the 70s. They are fantastic, and it comes down to, again, management. And they've got great management companies that take care of those properties, and I'm not aware of any major issues specific to those apartments.
But it also comes down to code enforcement and how much money the city is willing to devote to that. You know what's going on in Fresno with Somerset. Fresno Bee just did an expose the last few days, a Sunday special, on the slumlords in the city of Fresno. That has nothing to do with Clovis, but that's a major problem. So some people see, yeah, it's up to the ownership of the apartments, the management of the apartments, but who's managing these people? Who's watching them? It comes down to code enforcement and how much money you're willing to pour into it.
Code enforcement is a part of that, and making sure that looking at the ordinances that are in place at the local level, that folks that are managing apartment complexes are following those basic ordinances. So yes, it is about code enforcement too. But if you have a good management company, and even if you have an older apartment complex, but they maintain it and make sure that the tenants are following the laws and rules of that particular complex, I've seen great areas where you have both apartments and residential living in harmony, so to speak. Yeah. In Clovis, near Coventry, off of Coventry, you have a great development of single-family residential, and then you have Coventry Cove. Lots of apartments built right next to Cedarwood Elementary School. And when those apartments first went in, there was an outcry from the community. But the managers of that apartment complex over the course of the last 13 years have done a great job, and there are great kids coming in and out of those apartments, going to that school, and that's one of the best elementary schools in Clovis.
Let me put you on the spot before I take the call. Hang on, caller. Would you say no, as a Fresno County supervisor, would you say no to someone who wants to come in and put another pizza parlor in that area, another Mexican restaurant in that area? Would you say, no, I'm not going to allow you to do that? We are overkill in that area.
What I would say is I'm all for local control. And as a county board of supervisor, my jurisdiction when it comes to a project like this does not apply. That would fall to the Fresno City Council.
Okay.
And I would say that the Fresno City Council members need to follow the specific plan and general plans that they've developed for that area, where the community can have input.
So that doesn't fall into your jurisdiction,
no.
District 5. Fresno County Supervisor.
That particular area would be. So Tulare and Minnewawa is in District 5 area.
It wouldn't be up to you for development. It'd be up to the council.
It's in currently the city of Fresno's sphere of influence.
Gotcha.
So after an area comes into the sphere and has the ability to be annexed, really the county's ability to weigh in on projects is minimized.
Yeah, and the same goes, I mean, he has nothing to do with whether or not Trader Joe's comes into that area. As we all know, Trader Joe's is moving from Blackstone to a different location. So, caller, you're on the air with Nathan Magsig. Go ahead. Oh, lost it. Okay. Well, call back, 436-ME-TV, option 11. And so we were talking a little bit about why you're running for office and the calling. And before we went to break, you can call back in, by the way, caller. Sorry I made you hold so long. 436-ME-TV, option 11. We did put you on hold, but you are welcome to call back. We do have an open line. And is the caller back now? I don't see him. Don't see him or her. Okay, let me ask you, do I have to take a break already? Again? Okay, 436 MeTV option 11. Do call back. McHenry Protective Services, your sponsor today here on the program. Back in a moment.
The following is another list of things you will not hear on MeTV programs. Man cave, baby bump, whatevs, double half-calf mochaccino, faux hog, redonkulous, totes adorbs, hella, holla, YOLO, cray-cray, and MeTV is still Kardashian-free. This is what you will hear on MeTV programs.
Welcome, Denham. The Twilight Zone. About Bulls.
I object, Your Honor.
Mr. Grant.
I hear you right. You heard me right.
MeTV. Thanks for listening.
It's no wonder why the city of Fresno and so many Valley businesses choose McHenry Protective and Investigative Services. With over 50 years of experience in public safety and security, McHenry's team of experts will safeguard you, your commercial property, and your next big event. Professional service, marked patrol vehicles, 24-hour dispatch, and friendly, observant, and responsive armed and unarmed guards are just a few of the reasons you should contact McHenry at 559-478-7747 or visit them online at mchenryprotection.com. And I want to ask you, Nathan, as we're back here on the program, about these, before we move on to something else, and I want to clarify on this water issue, water storage issue. You want to build 2 more storage units. Where is, or maybe 3 or maybe 4, but where's that money going to come from?
So where the money comes from, I haven't identified that specifically yet. But I do know in Clovis, we were able to
Hang on, caller. I'll get to you in a moment.
We were able to find revenues in our water fund to make that happen, to build these groundwater banking facilities. So what I would...
Grants?
Well, grants too. We got grants, and we also used some reserves that we had in our water banking fund. And we recognized the value of making sure that we had a reliable source of water during drought times, and that that investment made a lot of sense for the citizens of Clovis. And so 10 years ago, we began to invest in these facilities. Actually, longer than that. 12 years ago, we started investing in these facilities, and they've paid dividends. Just last year alone, it guaranteed an extra 3,000 acre-feet of water.
All right. So just to clarify, you're not sure where the money's going to come from right now, but that's one of your goals.
We will look into that, and we will find the money.
All right. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I'd like to point out that water can't go through cement or blacktop. And why is it necessary for the city to put sidewalks everywhere with trees that nobody wants, like cockleburrs? These sidewalks could be just bare dirt. Nobody's walking on them anyway, and that would allow the water to go down in the ground and recharge the underground when it rains. Why are we covering so much of our land with tar and cement when we don't need all that? And what could you do? Could you pass a law against it?
Okay.
Great question. And again, at the city level, the city's purpose is to really focus development and provide for more intense development at the city level. The question about can't we just like eliminate sidewalks, I wouldn't want to do that because you'd create a muddy mess if you eliminated streets and put them back to dirt, or didn't have sidewalk areas for people to walk and get from point A to point B. It would just create a muddy mess. But right now when it rains, we work with the Fresno Metropolitan Flood Control District, and there are a number of irrigation basins and flood control basins that you will see throughout our communities. And those flood control basins serve 2 purposes: to get that water that hits the streets off the street and into an area where it can recharge the aquifer. So right now we're not losing that water that's hitting the streets. It's being moved to groundwater, or to basins where that water then is being recharged into the aquifer.
Okay, let's get back to your being a Clovis mayor. You've been there on the council and the mayorship, what, 15 years now?
A little over 15 years,
okay.
Yes.
What are some of the shining moments for you that you can look at and say, look, this is a badge of honor for me. This is what I've accomplished in the city of Clovis?
So looking at the city of Clovis, first thing I want to say is any of the great accomplishments that have happened in the city have not been because of me, but
what
in
have
Clovis,
you been a part of?
Yeah, so it's a team effort in Clovis, clearly, and I've got a number of examples and things that I'd like to discuss. So the first one is we developed a surface water treatment plant that went online, I believe, in 2003. Up until that point, the city of Clovis relied almost 100% on groundwater. This surface water treatment plant today is able to treat 22 million gallons of water. And so what it's done is we now are taking surface flows out of the Enterprise Canal. It allows us not to pull water from the aquifer. And these are surface water allotments that we've been given from Fresno Irrigation District, but we've only been using them for about the past 13 or 14 years with the development and the building of this surface water treatment plant. That's one project. Another project is water reuse. The water reuse plant that we developed in Clovis, which is basically a sewer plant that treats water to a tertiary level, and that water then can be used for landscaping, and we get a second use out of it. That plant took 8 years from the time that we started to identify a site where it could be located, dealing with all the environmental review. But that plant is allowing us to grow as a city into the future. You've just seen some numbers recently that the city of Clovis, our population has now surpassed 108,000 people, and it's one of the fastest growing cities in the Central Valley and in the state of California. So we're a very large city, we're a very desirable place for people to live, and we need to make sure that we have infrastructure in place to accommodate this growth that's happening into the future. So that's another project that we've been a part of. In Clovis, our fire department has international accreditation, and I believe there's only two fire departments in the entire Central Valley that have international accreditation. And what this means for the residents of Clovis, when you have a priority 1 call at your house, you will get a police officer and or a firefighter to your house in 5 minutes or less, 90% of the time. Also, what it means is your insurance rates are lower because we have the ability to deploy a firefighting force out to your home if you do have a fire very quickly. And so it saves property, it saves lives, and because of that, it saves money for the residents of the city of Clovis.
So these are just 3 shining examples of what you've been a part of in Clovis that you're running on.
Yes, these
as part of your campaign. You can say, look, it wasn't me single-handedly, but as part of a group, as part of the city council, I was a part of helping this surface water treatment plant. I was a part of making the fire department a national accreditation department that arrives less than 5 minutes on the scene. Your insurance rates are lower. I was a part of this. So those 3 cornerstone issues?
I wouldn't say those are cornerstone issues. Those are examples. So if you want to talk about my cornerstone issues in this campaign, it's water. Number 1.
Well, that's surface water treatment plant.
Yes. Public safety, number 2. So in Clovis, we are recognized as the safest city in the Central Valley, and it's been that way 3 years running. And so at the county level, there's
do you credit the council for that, or the police department, or what?
No, I credit the police department, but the council is only a facilitator to make this stuff happen. So when the police chief comes to us and said they need a certain number of bodies in the police department, we listen to our police chief and get him the resources that he needs. At the county level, when the sheriff wants to come and sit down and talk to me, I'm going to listen and find out what her needs are and find a way to get her the revenues that she needs to get more deputies on the streets. But it's more than just deputies. We have to make sure that the district attorney's office is properly funded so we can retain the best and brightest attorneys here in the county. Also, it's about the public defender's office, because if the criminals here in our community are not getting adequate public defense, then ultimately it can screw up a trial and you have to start all over again. And so the criminal justice system here in Fresno County, all aspects of it need to be funded appropriately so we can keep crime low.
Are they not now?
Well, I would say that right now, I believe that the sheriff could use 100 more deputies right now. But one of the limiting factors is revenue. The 3 main sources of revenue at the county level, discretionary revenue, are sales taxes, property taxes, and vehicle license fees. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to be investing in more business parks, because the more businesses that locate here creates jobs, more discretionary revenue. Those businesses are also paying property taxes, which come back to the county, and sales taxes too. So we need to be more job friendly, more business park friendly with our cities, and the county needs to take a much more proactive stance on these things.
All right, so the DA's office and the public defender's office, do they lack funding? Do they lack manpower?
So I will say this, if you take a look at the caseload right now at the DA's office, our attorneys that work for the district attorney have some of the highest caseloads compared to any other division in the state of California. If you look at what they're paid, they're amongst some of the lowest paid attorneys here in the state of California. So what's happening is you have attorneys, great attorneys that are coming here. They might work for the district attorney for a few years and then they leave. I believe it's more expensive to train a workforce that's going to end up working for a neighboring county than it is to find a way to pay them what they deserve so they're competitive and they choose to make a career here. So that's
but you need
something
to hire more attorneys, though, too, for the DA's office.
Absolutely. You need to hire more attorneys because I mentioned the workload is amongst the highest in the state.
Right.
So we need more attorneys, we need good attorneys, and we need to make sure that the pay is competitive so we're not losing them to neighboring counties.
And public defender's office?
Public
more?
defender's office. So right now I believe the county subcontracts part of that work because the public defender does not have enough attorneys to provide the criminals or the accused with adequate representation.
Where's all this money coming from? Quickly.
Well, again, we have to get involved in economic development. With the development of more business parks, you create the ability to have more vehicles being purchased, and vehicle license fees help to bolster.
Will you raise taxes?
No, you don't have to raise taxes. All you have to do is be more job friendly, and the jobs will come and the revenues come right behind it.
You're talking about tax revenue.
Tax revenue that already exists today, property taxes, sales taxes, and vehicle license fees.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We have a call, but I'm going to ask you to wait until after the break. Caller, can you hang on? 436-MeTV, option 11, McHenry Protective Services, your sponsor on the program today. Back in a moment.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
It's no wonder why the city of Fresno and so many Valley businesses choose McHenry Protective and Investigative Services. With over 50 years of experience in public safety and security, McHenry's team of experts will safeguard you, your commercial property, and your next big event. Professional service, marked patrol vehicles, 24-hour dispatch, and friendly, observant, and responsive armed and unarmed guards are just a few of the reasons you should contact McHenry at 559-478-7747 or visit them online at mchenryprotection.com. A caller has been very patient and waiting. All of you are, most every day of the week here, Monday through Friday. Caller, you're on the air with Nathan.
Nathan, let me ask you a quick question. We're talking about soccer and all that coming from Chinchansky and looking for areas. Instead of going to Madera, let me just say, I seen where you're talking about the on Shaw Avenue, where the old I guess it's winery is located there in the back area. That would be a great location for Fuego to invest in, or the city of Clovis, because it's easy to access, and a lot of people can come to the games and whatnot. And I'm just taking one example as far as soccer. And Clovis has a great league as far as soccer and whatnot, and then you got Fresno and all the outside areas, and yeah, what I like about you is you don't give yourself enough credit because you're always giving credit to the fire department, police department, and whatnot. But you know what? It takes a strong person like yourself to get along with the city council and everybody around you. So I love that about you, because you're not out there, well, it's me, and about me. But it's everybody working together, and that's the kind of people we need. So I commend you what you've done, and keep doing what you're doing, and you'll get there.
Thank you very much.
Caller.
Hey,
Thank
any
you.
comments about the Fuego?
I would love it if the Fuego chose to come to the city of Clovis. So I guess the only thing I can say is we'll see what the future holds. I know in Clovis we're always looking for more recreational opportunities for our youth. And you mentioned the winery, and I know that we're looking at some plans to develop some recreational areas out there behind the old winery. The city of Clovis owns that property. I think it's about 8 or 9 acres. So who knows? Maybe there'll be an opportunity for the Fresno Fuego, for Fuego to come to Clovis. We'll see.
Right. Hey, short on time here. Got to ask you a few more things.
Sure.
I noticed on the city website, the Clovis website, City of Clovis, you do use eminent domain on occasion to take property away. As a Fresno County supervisor, would you guys use eminent domain? Yes or no?
So, well, it's not a yes or no answer, so it depends. So eminent domain in Clovis, when we've used it, is to acquire right-of-way for roads. So if you look at right now in the city of Fresno, as you move north, you've got like Nees Avenue and Alluvial, which aren't two ways in each direction. It narrows down and bottlenecks in certain parts because maybe there was a property owner that wasn't willing to sell their land. And so for me, eminent domain should only be used for public necessity specific to roads in this case. So if
streets.
Streets and roads, yeah. same kind of thing. But we have plans that were developed, general plans that have been developed that look at growth going out 25 and 30 years. And during that process, the public's able to give input about how a road may impact their land. And so all of these are put in place many years in advance. You can look at the freeway systems that we have in place. But for me, looking at the greater good for the public when it comes to just moving automobiles, if you didn't have the ability to use eminent domains on a very limited basis, you would never have connectivity for our roads.
Yeah, but would you use it for economic development?
Never for economic development.
Isn't roads and streets part of economic development to a certain extent?
To a certain extent, yes, but also roads and streets are more than just economic development. It's about moving people, families getting to and from work. It's about them taking their kids to school.
So you'd use it, but only on a limited basis.
Very limited. Yeah. Streets mainly is what it's been used for.
Caller, go ahead. Short on time, quick on the question, please.
Yeah, my question is I'm a county resident. I live out in the county, one of the smaller towns around here, Reedley. My question is that, you guys are running for office, but you guys always sound like whatever you guys are doing is for the benefit of Fresno and the metropolitan area there, maybe. But you guys never talk about what you're going to do for the rest of the county as a whole. I would like, maybe I came in late, but I would have like to hear something on that. Thank you.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about water.
Yeah, and so to the caller, so public safety, a couple of things high on my list are water and also public safety and economic development. So one of the things I'd love to do in Reedley is work with the city council there to develop more business parks that will create jobs and help the local economy, but it also will help the county coffers as well. And then around water, I mentioned a little bit in Clovis how we developed groundwater banking facilities. In Reedley, I'd like to do something similar. Look for areas in Reedley where we can develop some groundwater banking facilities to benefit not only the city, but also the agricultural folks, the farmers that live in and around the Reedley area.
All right. I'm going to give you some time here to look in that camera. You're very articulate, very well educated. Matter of fact, you have a master's degree, don't you?
Yes.
In criminology, I believe?
Yes.
And so look into that camera there and tell the people why they should vote for you come June the 7th.
Well, first of all, I'd like to begin by thanking all the viewers today for taking the time to listen to some of the issues that I want to work on here in Fresno County. I've lived here in the county for over 25 years. I have 3 beautiful boys that I'm raising here in the county. And for me, looking at the challenges that we face, I'm very hopeful about the future. Water, looking at economic development, looking at public safety. I want to focus on those issues and make sure that we solve these issues at the local level. We can no longer rely on the federal government and the state government to give us what we need. And so it's important for us to band together at the local level to solve these problems. As someone who's been involved in Clovis over the course of the last 15 years, Clovis has become the safest city in the Central Valley. And again, it's not solely because of what I've done, but we have an incredible team working in the city of Clovis. At the county level, there are over 7,000 employees that do yeoman's work day in and day out to provide the services that the residents of the county need. And I look forward to working with them to be a facilitator. And I want to work with you as well. If you have any ideas of what we can do in Fresno County to make it a better place, I want to hear from you and work with you. Thank you, John, for having me on your show, and thank you, viewers, for taking the time to listen to me today.
Quickly, we're going to have the police chief of Clovis on tomorrow. Were you involved in any of the negotiations on the search for this suspect, David McCann?
No, our police chief and our police department did an incredible job, and there were other departments as well that were working with Clovis PD to track this individual down. Yeah. So the council and myself, we were given updates all along during this process. But our police chief, our police department, when you see a police officer out there on the street, I got to tell you, there were individuals working more than 24 hours shifts that lasted longer than 24 hours because they were not going to quit until they found this individual, and they found him last night at about 1:30 in the morning.
Right. Not convicted of anything. We don't want to convict David McCann of anything on this program ever because there has not been a trial yet. He is only a suspect at this point in this double homicide in the city of Clovis. We're going to have the police chief of Clovis on tomorrow. Nathan, good to see you.
You too.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
Always good to see you. Thanks for coming in. All right, that's going to do it for us on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. McHenry Protective Services, our thanks to them for the sponsorship today. Back tomorrow with more of your phone calls with the Clovis Police Chief. Have a good day.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
It's no wonder why the city of Fresno and so many Valley businesses choose McHenry Protective and Investigative Services. With over 50 years of experience in public safety and security, McHenry's team of experts will safeguard you, your commercial property, and your next big event. Professional service, marked patrol vehicles, 24-hour dispatch, and friendly, observant, and responsive armed and unarmed guards are just a few of the reasons you should contact McHenry at 559-478-7747 or visit them online at mchenryprotection.com.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio